Thank you, ladies and gents. We've got winning coach, Mr. Jake White, who's going through to the semis of the Vodacom URC. We'll start with questions here on the floor once again, and then come to the guys online. Bubis.
Jake, I want to start off with that drop kick at the end. For a while, it looked like the Bulls didn't think about the drop kick, and then Chris just sneaked it through.
I don't know if they weren't thinking about it. I think Chris probably thought there was so much pressure on me, he probably didn't want to do it. He said to me, he was obviously terrified. Yeah, I suppose the nice thing is that's not the first time you've seen a Northern Transvaal guy drop a kick over.
Ken?
Jake, I guess as a coach, all the many hours you spend drilling the players, getting them to do things over and over again, and their bodies are tired, and 84 minutes of the game. That's why I do it. So they work their way all the way up the field, the composure they show, just to get into that position.
Yeah. Well, Ken, I mean, if you think about it, that game changed in the last sort of, I'd say 9 minutes, because there was the last 5 of normal time and then 4 minutes of injury time. That game changed. I mean, I think it must have changed 5 times. And what I meant by that is I thought the times they were offsides, then they could have quite easily been given a penalty when they had that breakaway and they played back inside to Enko Fenta. And then at the end, as it turned out, I thought maybe that scrum, the last scrum, we were pushing them backwards. I thought he was going to give a scrum penalty there. And again, I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying the emotions in the coach's box is, come on, that's a penalty. And I'm sure in the one coach's box next to me, that's a penalty. So, but I mean, that's the nice thing about sport is, that's why people come and watch. And I think what's going to happen now is these Bull supporters will keep coming back because, it was a fantastic game of rugby. You look at the URC where we started, and everyone was a bit skeptical about the URC, but I think, any sort of supporter who wasn't sure about URC will look at that kind of game and go, well, that's something I could come back and watch again. So, I mean, I saw Sean as he walked out. It's not nice. It would be different if I was sitting here and they'd got a drop kick over at the end of the game. But, that's sport, as I said.
Coach, it wasn't necessarily the best start to the season for the groups, but it has come together.
Yeah.
I think 8 and 9 now. Did you at the start see your team peaking at the business end of the campaign?
Yeah.
And also with regards to that, the momentum is clearly on your side. Do you feel as if the team still has more legs to roll away from the onwards?
Yeah, look, I mean, firstly, we didn't start well. It was always going to be tough, 4 games. I think the first 6 games we played, 5 of them were away from home. And to get Leinster first up when they've just come out a 3-month pre-season with all the international players was always going to be a tough ask. So, yeah, I'd like to tell you that we always knew it was going to be a tough start. I always had belief that if we just keep working, this group is still relatively young. And coaches, I think coaches and teams want to end the tournament when you're playing your best rugby. So, as I said last week, it's immaterial what happened now last week or the week before, or even in the pool stages, because now it's a one-off game. You've got to make sure that you're good enough to win that one-off game. And, yeah, I'm getting back to what I said last week. That's the way you play knockout rugby. We still scored, I think we might have scored 4 tries, but the reality is you're still going to have to go to 84 minutes to win a game like that. So, yeah, it's not going to get any easier, guys. I would think that Leinster, after last week, are going to be rampant this week. And then we get another chance to measure ourselves against an international side like Leinster. So, we're just going to make sure we look after ourselves the next 2 days, make sure that we, we rehydrate and look after our bodies, because Friday night we play again against Leinster.
Lefonoro, Ken, and Kanyiso.
Congratulations on the win. Usually when you come there for most games, we start off slow and then in the second half is when you kill. Today, Sharks managed to equalize. Was that, were you worried maybe with you relaxed on that?
Yeah.
And was there any specific message to send after Sharks?
Yeah, well, look, I'll give you I always knew it was going to be a tough game. That's 9 Springboks there, 5 World Cup winners. So it was always going to be a tough ask. And the message was simple, First half, when we get into the change room, we hadn't played. We hadn't even hardly got into their half. We hardly had the ball. When we did have it, we looked good enough. So the message was just, make sure you start playing. Get your hands on the ball and have a go. So, And when we did, and we looked outstanding at times, so yeah, I mean, it's it's one of those games that I knew was going to go to the wire. I think that's how knockout rugby is going to be now. You look at all the games in knockout. It takes little moments, and we dropped the kickoff, got a scrum penalty early on. We gave them a maul try. All of a sudden, it's 10 points, not from anything other than our own mistakes. So, yeah, I mean, I think again, I was trying to think as I'm talking to you. They two men overlapped twice. They didn't finish. We kicked the ball inside. It didn't bounce for Zach. That ball bounces nicely. Zach scores under the poles as well. So those are the moments you got to win. And luckily and thankfully today we won most of those moments. So it's, that's why we go away next week.
Okay.
So just following up on that period, the first 10 minutes of the second half, where it really looked like now you had taken a bit of control of the game. Were you concerned that the Sharks then, I don't want to say allowed, back into the game? Because I mean, were you concerned that the Sharks came back into the game, or was that just the nature of knockout rugby that they were always going to?
Well, you mean when we were far ahead?
Yeah.
Look, I mean, as I said, they got 9 Springboks. I mean, they were fully aware of the fact. The thing that I'm not saying disappoints me, the thing that we would have to learn is there's no rocket science to the fact that when you're 14 points down, they're going to have a go at you. I mean, they're not going to kick the ball in the corner and walk to the lineouts because they're going to run out of time. So we're probably, again, a little bit naive at times, not understanding that. And we missed 1 or 2, tackles, or we missed 1 or 2 opportunities. We turned the ball over. I remember one in the 22. I think Arnu turned the ball over and tried to pick it up, knocked it on. Now, had we got that ball away, we would have not been under pressure. Next thing, it's their scrum outside our 22. So, again, I think they're a good team as well. I mean, you don't have 9 Springboks and 5 World Cup winners and don't understand how to win. So, it was inevitable that we'd have to keep fighting.
We'll go to Kanyiso, Lihonolo, and close it up with Kobus. And then we'll come to the guys on the line.
Jake, congratulations on the win. I'm speaking to Redmond when you come over. You mentioned the fact that before they beat the Leinster in the final, they had a very scrappy semi-final, and not being preemptable with they face this. It was, as you rightly say, sports can throw up different things. But what did you take out from that particular Leinster game when you saw the La Rochelle actually did best and could be taken with the next 2 should be faced Leinster?
Yeah, look, I think the one thing I did see is that Leinster have been the one team that scores the most points in the first 20 minutes against everybody. And I think what they did is they, through circumstance and through maybe 1 or 2 errors of Leinster, they sort of got to hold them with a reasonable score at half time. If you look at the clips, you'll see there were about 3 or 4 opportunities where Leinster were coming at a hell of a speed towards the line, and they just 1 or 2 bad options. They didn't go out the back. And I think if they'd scored there like they've done to most teams, they go 21-0 up, then it becomes very difficult to win. So I think the only thing I sort of learned from that is that there's 2 things. One is that Leinster they're beatable, and that's obviously confidence for us. And secondly, you can't let them start well, because starting well is what they want to do, and then you've got to play catch up. But obviously sometimes you don't get to catch up when you get a good team like that.
So,
That's good. You're proud of your set pieces today.
Yeah, look, I'm not. And then a couple of times at that very first scrum, as I said, I'd like to have got out of a half without giving a penalty away there. But at the end, it was the last scrum of the game. I thought we could have got a penalty. And then set piece wise, our line out probably didn't maul as well as I'd like. But the one thing I'm really happy about is that Jan-Hendrik Wessels got on the field. He had 2 crucial lineouts. He won them both. And he needs to feel that pressure. That's the thing I'm happy about. He's going to have to learn that pressure. Most guys maybe would have picked Bismarck on the bench, but then you learn nothing. It's not just about Saturday. This is about building a team for the next couple of seasons. And I think the lesson that Jan Hendrik got in that last 10 minutes is going to make him so much better in the next couple of years.
Kobus?
Jack, I have a bit of a double question. How much did this team evolve and grow since that first game against Leinster?
Yeah.
And as part of the development recipe at the moment, senior guys like Marcel and all played well, but also juniors like Kagan and Zalberg.
Exactly.
Putting in the performance.
I thought Kanan was outstanding today for guys playing. That breakaway try, he he did obviously right at the end there. I'd love him to have caught that ball in the in-goal area. But yeah, so you're right, Kobus. I mean, the blend between youth and experience, and that's very important that you guys understand. You know, putting Bismarck in now and maybe playing an older guy at fullback or whatever, you don't learn anything. You know, I think that part of this road or sort of the journey with this group is that when they become seniors, they get these experiences as well. And the answer to the first question is, I mean, I'll only know Friday night. That's the answer. And that's the nice thing about us. We'll see how good we are on Friday night and how we've either grown or, you know, or gone backwards. And I'd like to believe we've got better. So, you know, let's see what happens on the weekend.
Ken?
I was going to ask about Kane Moody, so
Yes.
unless you want to talk more.
Yeah,
about
look, I mean,
it.
Ken,
No,
young guy's 19 years old, you know, so I mean, he's gone from wing to fullback. I think it won't be long before you ask me if he can play center as well, you know. But I mean, he's a phenomenon. I mean, think about it, it's like he's playing in that level against guys like Fassi and Mpimpi, and he didn't look out of place. You know, he didn't look like he was like lost. Defensively, he was outstanding. He kicked for touch when they put him under pressure there. Yeah, I mean, I think he's the real deal. But I think, as Kobus says, when you've got Cornwall and you've got, you know, senior guys around you like Harold Foster, and, you know, you've got senior guys like Marcel running around next to you, it helps you with your confidence as well. So I think it'll get better and better and better.
Last one from the floor, can you so?
I know that we've had a lot of to and fro with regards to the officiating, and today was an example of inconsistent officiating from start to from first to 80th minute. Is there the?
Are you saying that was the case? You saying that? Or
I am saying that.
Okay. I just want to make sure that you don't say Jake said and we're inconsistent. Okay. Okay. I thought he was outstanding in the last play of the game.
As a winning coach, do you have that small sense of doubting it where it's been clear that when teams travel overseas, the officiating changes and it's a high stakes game?
Exactly. I say this, that if we had that same situation in Durban, we would have felt different pressure. You know, that's why winning and getting home semi-finals and home quarterfinals are important. I mean, it's no different to any other sport. You know, playing in front of your home crowd and the pressure, as Mick Mellett said during the week, the pressure is also sometimes on the officiating because, you know, that can play in his mind. It's the most normal human thing in the world. You know, I'm just hoping from next week on that they allow their away sides to win.
Okay, we'll go to the guys online. Ashfaq?
Hi, Jake. The guys pulled it through in the end, but as you said, that first half hardly fired a shot. And I think it happened in the Stormers game in Cape Town and one or two others as well. And as you said, if you play Leinster next week, you can't allow that. You're not going to come back. So how do you sort that out?
Well, those are the sort of style players. I mean, you think about the Stormers and the Sharks, they play very similar rugby. They've got big forwards and they like to maul. And I remember noting at one stage, I think the game had been going on for 9.5 minutes. We hadn't had the ball yet. So, you know, once that happens, then you allow the other team to build pressure against you. And, you know, how do you sort it out? You just got to keep putting them in those situations and get them to grow as a group. There's no other way you can do it. And hopefully when we do get more experience and we understand that we've got to sometimes hold on to the ball instead of giving it away so easily, then it'll make it easier for ourselves. But you know, it is something. I mean, that's not something you go to practice and say, right, from tomorrow we're gonna, you know, that comes over time. I think that's a group of players who understands at this level, you know, next week against Leinster, you give them the ball for 10 minutes in the beginning of the game, you know, they're not gonna miss out on those opportunities.
Nathan?
Thank you. I just got two questions. Coach, congratulations with the victory. Decent fight back by the Sharks there at the end, but can you just comment on your side's composure, especially in a fixture of this magnitude, especially a relatively youthful Bulls outfit against a team full of current international players? Are these signs of something we should be looking forward to in the penultimate playoff fixture and beyond?
Nathan, I'm glad you said that. I mean, I've been saying it to you guys for a long time. This group of players only been together for 2 years. You know, it's irrelevant, you know, how old they are. Some of them are relatively young. We had 2 19-year-olds on the 23 matchday squad. So, yeah, I'm glad you pick it up. And these guys are playing beyond their ages, you know, and beyond their time as a group together. You know, next week we'll probably get the ultimate test against Leinster when they've got, You know, I mean, sometimes I think their forward pack might have more, I mean, their front row might have more caps than our whole team together, you know, so, and that's international caps. So, yeah, I'm very proud of the fact that we've done what we've done. I mean, we've probably achieved far beyond what people expected, and I think probably our own players expected. But you know, that's the exciting thing about sport. We get a chance next week to measure ourselves against an international side that have dominated Europe, and you know, whatever's going to happen, we'll get a great feel for where we are as a group.
Then my final question. Yeah, thank you. Last home game of the campaign, perhaps a message for the supporters at the stadium, especially coming from difficult times of COVID and the fans pulling in.
Yeah, Nathan, look, I've got to say today was a special day, I think, because, you know, the one opportunity I didn't want to miss is that you don't do well on a day like this because the crowd won't come back. And I think I suppose the spin-off of what happened today, albeit was till the last play of the game, I can't think that any family or any person who came to watch that game is not going to want to come watch the Bulls play again. So, yeah, I'm very thankful that we can hopefully we'll get to full house crowds soon, and then we'll be, you know, be a stadium where people come here and we'll have, you know, capacity crowds every week as well. And I've got no doubt if we keep playing like that, there won't be a reason why we won't get all the crowds.
Last question of the afternoon, Simon.
Thanks, Jumani. Jake, well done. And 2 questions for you. First of all, that phase play before the kick that was duplicated by other fly-offs in Golden Transvaal fly-offs. How much of that was left to the players themselves, that part of phase play, and how much did come from the box, from you guys? Setting it up, or was it a decision that you left to the leaders on the field?
Okay, Simon, I didn't for 1 minute even think they were going to drop kick. I thought they would score. You know, I mean, if you look back a couple of plays before that, we were in exactly the same situation, and I think we went out the back and Cornwall scored. You know, so all credit to them. I mean, they obviously summed up the situation. I mean, Chris Smith obviously saw that he could get that over the poles. I mean, obviously, I don't know if you remember, but the first half, he tries to kick a cross kick in our 22 to someone, you know. So, as I said, sometimes they make good decisions, sometimes they made bad decisions. But, you know, fortunately today, he got, I mean, I was loving to put Mornay Steyn on, but as it turned out, you know, I kept the right guy on the field.
Okay, thanks, Jack. Second part of the question, you've alluded to that more than once, that you have the developmental squad, etc. But now it is finals games. You have one bite at the cherry on Friday. Do we read between the lines that you will change your youth squad to more experienced squad, or are you still letting us out on a line a little bit there?
Simon, we play next week against Cheetahs in a must-win game. We want a home final. We want to recapture what we did today with you know, capacity crowd. So there's a lot more balls to juggle in the air than just saying, look, you know, take X, Y, and Z, because to be fair, you need these 2 teams to produce, and you need both these teams to continue winning. It was interesting. I spoke to the players before the game. A lot of players can't remember when they last lost a rugby game. And that's a massive place to be. You know, some guys who played Currie Cup haven't lost for a while. Guys who played URC haven't lost for a while. So there'll be no reason for us not to continue doing what's been working for us.
Ladies and gents, thank you very much for your time. Congratulations once again, Coach Jack, and all the best for the semis.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thank you.